Hey there, you're hearing the voice of Kyle Hilliard, Game Informer's magazine content director, and after much internal debate during a year of just stellar games that felt impossible to rank, we arrived at a ranked list of our top 10 games of the year 2023. The thoughts you're hearing here for each of these entries are truncated versions of the full text that you can read on GameInformer.com, so head over there for even more on our favorite games of the year. Number 10, Street Fighter VI. This stellar sixth entry practically overcorrects on Street Fighter V's mistakes. Instead of a bare-bones launch, Street Fighter VI packs a ton of cool features from the get-go. Of course, the one-on-one fighting is the franchise's bread and butter, and it's as fun and polished as it has ever been. Street Fighter VI is the year's best fighter and one of the finest in the genre's history. Number 9, Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars follows the journey of two fated warriors and their childhood friend as they fight the forces of destiny to defeat immortal quarreling beings. The story is as large as the adventure, and it wears its Chrono Trigger and Super Mario RPG, among other games, inspirations on its sleeve to craft a consistently joyful throwback experience. Even if you have no nostalgia for the era of RPGs that inspired Sea of Stars, it's still worth spending time with the Solstice Warriors, Valere and Zale, and their friend Garl. Number 8, Jant. Jant succeeds by being wholly singular. Developer Dontnod has put serious thought into how to translate the act of mountain climbing onto a video game controller. Jant's fun lies in its arduousness, in completing difficult challenges that take time and careful consideration. And it does with shocking success. If you're itching for a different experience, you'd be remiss not to take this climb. Number 7, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. If there were an award for the most aptly named video game of 2023, it would probably go to Super Mario Bros. Wonder. With the latest entry in one of the most iconic franchises in gaming, Nintendo successfully instilled an unrivaled sense of wonder and excitement around every corner. The core platforming feels as good as Mario has ever felt, but Wonder is perhaps most notable for the deviations it makes from the base franchise formula. The result is one of the best games and one of the most beloved series, easily earning a spot among the greatest releases of 2023. Number 6, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. In many ways, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is the Empire Strikes Back of Respawn's single-player Star Wars series. The story is darker and more mature, the set pieces are bigger and more impressive, and it expands on its predecessor in virtually every way. And it all culminates in a breakneck ending sequence that's not only some of the most thrilling gameplay of 2023, it's some of the best Star Wars content of the last decade. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is a story about looking for hope, struggling to find it, and learning how to come out on the other side. Number 5, Allan Wake 2. Allan Wake 2 shouldn't exist. It's a big-budget survival horror with a 2 in its title that's a sequel to a 13-year-old game. It lacks the straightforwardness, linear storytelling, and deluge of bombastic action we've come to expect from the AAA space, instead delivering a gorgeously claustrophobic and strange, true detective-inspired mystery about art and what words and pictures on a page can do for reality. Allan Wake 2 is one of the year's most impressive titles, specifically with some of 2023's best moments too. Number 4, Resident Evil 4. The Resident Evil 4 remake had the unenviable task of living up to its namesake's legacy, one of the most important, not to mention best, games of all time. Against all odds, it pulled it off. Resident Evil 4 is a masterclass in action game design. From the opening to the credits, it's paced down to the millisecond to know when to be scary, exciting, action-packed, and even a little funny. It also offers new players an invitation to see why Resident Evil 4 is so special. For that, it's a game you can't miss. That it's more fun than pretty much anything else is just the cherry on top. Number 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is a powerful exclamation point to Insomniac's trilogy of web-swinging epics. In MCU-like fashion, spending 2 games building up Peter and Miles as individuals before bringing them together pays off with 2 well-developed heroes out of the box tackling a pair of menacing threats in the forms of Kraven and Venom. Watching Peter and Harry Osborn's believable friendship become tested by the symbiote's presence gripped us, but seeing Miles come into his own steals the show. The young hero continues to be an inspiring force for good in his community while serving as an endearing emotional rock to Peter, earning his keep as the Spider-Man. Regardless of whose mask we're wearing, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is superhero nirvana. Number 2, Baldur's Gate 3. Dungeons & Dragons has been around for decades, but the game has had a massive resurgence in the last decade. It's only natural, and perhaps inevitable, that a proper video game adaptation of the new core rules of the game would be produced. But for a game based on human imagination and unpredictability, that's no easy task. And yet, miraculously, Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian Studios is a triumph. True to the tabletop RPG, it offers unprecedented freedom of choice, not just allowing for a variety of outcomes, but anticipating them with a staggering 174 hours of cinematics, most of which will not be seen in a single playthrough. The narrative branches according to the player's success and failures, often in surprising ways that pay off dozens of hours later. The depth of storytelling is most evident in a cast of companions that deliver performances of a lifetime, each with uniquely compelling stories and romantic arcs, should you choose to pursue them. The world itself is one of the most densely designed in all of gaming, with side quests and treasure buried around every corner. Exploration is consistently deeply rewarding. Larian's latest is a turning point in the history of RPGs, and its influence will be felt for years. Put simply, Baldur's Gate 3 is a critical success. Number 1, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. With Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo managed to craft a revelatory follow-up to arguably one of the best games it ever made, with an experience that managed to both maintain what worked about Breath of the Wild and make you reimagine everything you thought you knew about this instance of Hyrule. The number of excellent games released this year often felt impossible to rank in our debates, but Tears of the Kingdom still managed to come out on top despite the difficult competition. From the typical Zelda perspective, everything feels right in Tears of the Kingdom. Hyrule is familiar, but filled with new secrets. Every dungeon and shrine has creative puzzles with interesting solutions. Leaping into the air with the paraglider is better than ever. All of those elements are great on their own, but it was the introduction of Ultra Hand that was the revelation none of us predicted. Somehow, Nintendo managed to craft an interactive tool that lets you do whatever you want in a setting that encourages players to bend the game to their will. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom surprised us, made us feel smart and creative, and inspired thousands to become virtual engineers with incredible creations of their own. It's for all those reasons that The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is Game Informer Magazine's 2023 Game of the Year. Hey, thanks for tuning in, and please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this.